And welcome to Craig's Gun Channel. If you recall, last week, me and Eben had a little bit of a disagreement. He said he wanted a divorce, so no, Eben. We decided to go ahead and part ways. Well, okay, not really. He just happens to be off-site. He's in the greater, I'll call governmental-controlled overreach state of New Jersey, unfortunately. But he is going to join us remote, so we'll go ahead and pull him on here. So, Evan, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. And I think, Craig, the descriptor that you were looking for was the armpit of the world. Is that, that's where I'm at? So,
yeah, well,
hey, everybody.
Yeah, so I am sorry to hear that. So we thought we'd go ahead and try this remote thing, see how it works. So we are a little bit of technologically Luddites, I guess. We're figuring this out as we go, so hopefully everything will keep working. We're having a little bit of pixelation with the picture with Evan, but so hopefully everything will go through okay. So before we really get going too much, once again, this is Craig's Gun Channel's Random Shots. This is the show where we talk about pretty much anything and everything, whether it's Second Amendment related, firearms directly, preparing, conspiracy theories, basically you name it and we'll talk about it. So anything you wanted to add, Evan?
Anything we want, Craig.
Yep.
Anything we want, we're going to talk about it.
Yep, anything we want. I'm going to pull your volume up just a tiny bit. Okay, there we go. So, before we really get going, I wanted to cover a couple things. There was a SHOT Show we had going on earlier, obviously, this year, and we covered several firearms, but there were a couple on there that I didn't bring up at the time, and so I thought I'd go ahead and bring them up now. Mostly because they are kind of interesting, and I learned a little bit about one of them that kind of changed my initial opinion. So we'll go ahead and get started at first. Now, unfortunately, because of that technology stuff we were talking about, Evan's not going to be able to see this, but the first one, actually pull this up here. The first one is, it's a Gatling gun. And for those of you that don't know, Gatling guns are legal to own. And they follow the same transfer requirements as any other rifle. You have to be at least 18 years of age, pass the standard 4473 transfer requirement, and it's the same as any other firearm. They're not considered machine guns because they are manually fired, and so in other words, there's no self-activated action to fire subsequent rounds. However, attachment of any device that would allow automated cranking, such as a motor or a drill or something like that, that would actually then turn it into a machine gun and classify it in those regards. That would be illegal and could get you in a lot of trouble. But anyway, Tippmann Ordnance, formerly Tippmann Armory, their new belt-fed Gatling gun and .22 long rifle. It's available spring of this year. It's .22 long rifle, hand crank action. It's belt-fed. I think that's pretty neat. It has 6 8.5-inch barrels, an overall length of 20 inches. Has an aluminum housing, has an attached tripod, which is required to ensure legal length limits. So the length of the tripod that sticks out the back and everything adds to that overall length. It includes a traverse and elevation mechanism, all new design that they've made for the belts. The belts are actually made out of plastic, and the .22 rounds kind of snap into it. They come in 50 or 100 round lengths. It's rated at 600 rounds per minute. Of course, you'll be cranking pretty good there. It weighs about 15 pounds. The MSRP is around $5,600, so this isn't cheap. However, currently they're on sale, and kind of in a pre-order basis, and for around $4,500. So, not sure what you thought about that, Evan, hearing about that. I think that it's a cool idea. Kind of pricey.
Too rich for my blood, buddy. It's I'm looking at it on my side screen here. Your depiction, your picture of it. It's a pretty rad looking gun. It's going to be just slightly out of my price range, though.
Yeah, 40.
Plus my wife will let me borrow some money.
Yeah. Even at the sale price of $4,500, that's a lot of money for essentially a true definition of a range toy. There is no practical use for this whatsoever. It's 22 long rifle. You'd be hard pressed to even say you could use it. It's for covering fire. That's
right.
But anyway,
I'm with you on that. It's one of those interesting. Let's talk about it. Let me show you what I just burnt 5 Gs on, that type of thing for those people that like to show off that way. But it's cool, but impractical, like you said. So. Yep.
I'm exactly the same way. Now, the other one I wanted to talk about, though, and this one originally, I'll be honest, I had almost zero interest in, and that's the Smith & Wesson 5.7. And let me go ahead and pull a picture up here again. Evan won't be able to see it, and neither will anyone else if I don't click over to the right picture. There we go. It's the Smith & Wesson 5.7. So there again, it's a pistol. It shoots the 5.7 round. And when I first saw it, when it was released at SHOT, I wasn't excited, like I said. While new, it's just another pistol chambered in 5.7, following the original 5.7 from FN, then Ruger's, then Palmetto State Armory's. So, just another one. But after looking into it a little bit more, I'm a little bit more excited. It is something new. It's a gas-operated, rotating, locked breech pistol. What they call their tempo barrel system means the breech is fully locked until the bullet passes the gas port near the end of the muzzle in the barrel. So that makes it something new and different. Its shooting is going to be different as well because of that, and so now I'm kind of interested in wanting to get one. So we'll go ahead and see about if we can get our hands on one. We have one of the. Oh, go ahead, Evan.
No, I was just saying. Yeah, I agree. I think this one we might need to put in our future lineup for range day for sure.
Yep. Yeah, we have one of the Palmetto State Armory's Rock 5.7 pistols. We haven't added out to a range day yet, so it'd be interesting to see if we can get one of those new Smith & Wessons and then do a side-by-side comparison of them, because totally different operating principle, but the same package. So you should be able to have just a direct comparison between the two operating systems. So that should be neat. As far as what was that again?
I was just agreeing with you.
Oh, okay.
We got about a 5-second delay here, so.
Yeah. The delay is makes it a little bit problematic. Let's see, a couple more details about the pistol. It is a full-size polymer frame pistol, stainless steel slide with black armonite finish, 5-inch barrel, stainless steel threaded barrel with 1 9-inch twist, 8.5 inches long, 5 1/4 inches high, 1.1 inches wide, weighs 26.7 ounces. It's an internal hammer-fired, gas-operated, locked breech system. Let's see, ambidextrous slide stop, manual thumb safety, reversible magazine release, slide cut for optics. So that's nice. That's pretty much becoming the standard. Flat face trigger, Picatinny front rail, forward slide serrations. Comes with 2 22-round magazines and made in the USA. So overall, I'm actually kind of excited about it now. So we'll go ahead and
can't wait.
Yeah, just there again. More stuff comes out than what we can get our hands on for a variety of reasons. Usually money, but there's a lot of neat stuff out there.
Got to be selective, and this one's probably going to make the cut, I think.
Yep.
So,
I think so.
This is interesting enough.
Yep. So I'll go ahead and move on here.
Right.
What was that, Evan?
You ready for mine? Are you ready for mine?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go. Let's go with yours.
All right. So my episode, I guess my segment for episode 8 of Random Shots is called Frauds, Double Standards, and Hypocrites. And Craig, you haven't seen this yet. I didn't send you a precursor to this, so this is going to you're going to be shooting from the hip. I've got about 15 items here that highlight frauds, double standards, and hypocrites to the common man. So
Okay.
after each one, if you want to throw some color commentary, have at it.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Number one, the gas stove is bad for the environment, but exploding a gas pipeline in the sea is perfectly fine because support you.
Well, well, it has to be perfectly fine because, because they did that. I mean, if it wasn't fine, the protesters would all be like protesting the huge ecological disaster
where are all
that
the
pipeline is.
environmentalists?
Yep.
Where's Greta?
Yeah. I wish I had her on a pop-up where I could. Yeah, it absolutely. You are correct with that. The amount of gas coming out of that is just unrealistic, more than makes up for the gas stove.
But no gas stove for you.
Yep, I would say
all
that's
right.
definitely
Number
in the hypocrite camp.
Yes. All right, you can't be trusted with an AR-15, but the Taliban can be trusted with $80 billion of our military weapons, and the Ukraine thugs can be trusted with over $100 billion of our equipment.
Oh man!
Talk about that one.
Yeah, this was it's absolutely crazy. The amount of material that we have, I'm going to say we gave it to them because essentially that's what we did. Normally under normal circumstances, even with a peaceful withdrawal, there would be an effort to bring that stuff back. And if you couldn't bring it back, it would be rendered inoperable. That we just left it all laying out there and then ran away. And not only did we run away, we left people, and people were, people died during that. And there again, we've talked about it before, Evan. Where's the outrage on it? It's like everyone's completely forgotten about it. And those advanced weapon systems haven't even started to show up yet.
No, that's what I was going to say. Is there a good chance in the future? I mean, it's happened before. It's happened before where our own weapons have shown up, and it makes you shake your head. Yep,
it does. It's pathetic, and at some point, someone needs to be held accountable for that, like a ton of other things that are out there. Okay.
Right. All right, you ready for number 3?
Yep.
All right. Leftists claim to be the most compassionate people in society, yet in studies after studies, you find that conservatives give much more money to charity than liberals. I have a link that I can send you, Craig, that you can put in the notes in case any of you yahoos out there want to check my where I'm getting this from. But this study by philanthropyroundtable.org, they did a survey of thousands of people, and they found that conservative household incomes average than liberal households by average, but conservative households average 30% more charity giving than liberal households. So we made 6% less, but we gave 30% more. So,
and I don't even have to say anything to. I don't even have to say anything to add to that.
Always claim to be a real guy. It doesn't appear that the statistics back up them claiming to be for the little guy, though.
No, not at all.
All right, number 4.
Yeah.
Number 4, we all got to dramatically reduce our. We all have to dramatically reduce our carbon footprint to save the planet. Yet liberals like Al Gore and Leonardo DiCaprio live in big monster mansions and fly around in private jets. Right?
Yep.
That's the main talking point. But our friend Pete Buttigieg, who's doing an awesome job as a transportation secretary, he has taken 18 private jet flights at the expense of the taxpayer in just the last year. This is the same person who has advocated for curbing air travel on the grounds that it harms the environment. On top of that, a European study reported by Reuters, found that private jets emit 5 to 14 times as much pollution as a commercial jet. And I've got a link for that for any of you that want to look that up also. But along this whole thing with the that we're all going to die in 12 years, I thought this would be the perfect segment to bring up the list of 50 years of failed predictions by the left of environmental catastrophe. So I'm just going to run down real quickly on these, Craig. If you want me to stop and talk about one, just wave your hands and stop me.
Okay.
It started back in 1967. A famine was forecasted to wipe out America by 1975. In 1969, everyone will disappear in a cloud of blue stream. I don't even know what that is. There's a prediction by environmentalists that there's an ice age by the year 2000. And this is predicted in 1970. What year is it, Craig?
It's 2023, the last I checked.
Oh, so are we before? Is this going to happen before? When was this prediction? Are we past that, or is it still coming?
Yeah, I think we're a little past it.
I'm a little bit rough at math. All right. Again, in 1970, America is going to be subject. Somebody predicted America is going to. The experts predicted America is going to be subject to water rationing by 1974 and food rationing by 1980.
Yep, I remember hearing a lot of those.
A study said a new ice age is coming by 2020.
Oh, another ice age.
1972, a new ice age. Yep. 1974, space satellites showed that another ice age is coming fast. They didn't give a date or anything like that, but it was doom and gloom. 75, another ice age. Ozone depletion was going to cause great peril to life in 1974. 1976, scientific consensus. Planet is cooling, famines are imminent. 1980, acid rains kill all life in all lakes. 1978, no end in sight to the 30-year cooling trend. It's a cooling trend in 1978. Regional droughts in 1988 that never happened. 1988, a prediction of temperatures in D.C. will hit record highs, causing death and famine. Here's some real quick. The Maldive Islands will be underwater by 2018. 1989 study, rising sea levels will obliterate nations if nothing is done by the year 2000. That's a good one. New York's West Side Highway will be underwater by 2019. Children won't know what snow is. In 2000, there's a scientific article saying that children won't know what snow is by 2030.
Ask the people in California right now.
2002. Yeah, exactly. How's that global cooling going? 2002, famine in 10 years if we don't give up eating fish, meat, and dairy. This was a study done in 2002. Study in 2004 predicted Britain would be a Siberia by the year 2024. Then they kind of switched gears in 2008, and now all of a sudden it's global warming. So in 2008, there's a prediction that the Arctic will be free of ice by the year 2018. Craig, what year are we in?
It's still 2023.
We pass it or not? I'm a little slow at this.
Yeah. I think we passed it. So we blew right by that one.
Okay.
The ice age and the freezing or the thawing and stuff. It's supposed to occur at the same time. We passed them both. Luckily, they worked themselves out. But they
not done.
Okay.
Okay. So, okay. Let's see. Climate genius Al Gore predicts ice-free Arctic by 2013. There you go. 2009, climate genius Prince Charles says we will have 96 months to save the world in 2009. Oh, this is some good stuff. Climate genius Al Gore moves his 2013 prediction of an ice-free Arctic to 1 year later in 2014, again missing ginormously. 2014, a scientific study says 500 days before climate chaos. So there's some of that fear-mongering. 2006, they predicted super hurricanes. Have we had super? I don't know. Maybe these last hurricanes were super hurricanes. Maybe we'll give them one. I don't know. 1966, they predicted that oil was going to be gone in 10 years. Then they changed it in 72 to say it'd be gone in 20 years. 2005, a scientific study said Manhattan's going to be underwater by 2015. 1970, there is a scientific study that said urban citizens will need gas masks to breathe because of the fog and the what do you call that? All the pollutants and stuff like that. They'd need gas masks to even walk around the city. That didn't happen. And then last one, I'll leave on a high note. 1970s, they predicted killer bees were going to take over the earth.
I remember that one.
Do you?
Yeah, I was scared of the killer bee threat when I was a kid then, and that one actually scared me a little bit. But it was a toss-up, You didn't mention the fact we were all going to die in a nuclear fire from the nuclear war that was impending any minute.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
And is there a theme? They keep the constant fear going.
The one we hear in the news now is we've got 12 years. That's the one AOC's harping on, and everybody's mimicking whatever she says and whatever Greta says. So we've got 12 years to fix this, and no amount of taxation is too much to save the earth. And they've got their followers, though, Craig. There are people that eat this hook, line, and sinker.
Aren't we like on this 6th anniversary of we only have 12 years left or something? So
yes. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It's the never-ending story, right? All right, so enough of that stuff. Let me find my mouse here. Let's see. We got our next bullet point is going to be guns should be banned. Yet, while they want to take guns out of the hands of law-abiding citizens, liberal celebrities and politicians walk around with armed bodyguards. Example, you remember Cori Bush, the member of the squad, Cori Bush?
Oh, yeah.
I think she was leading the charge for the defund the police, and she was consistently seen with large security teams protecting her, and she was confronted many times about it, and it comes to find out that she has paid her husband $70,000 for private security for herself, kind of bilking her the DNC, and it's just going right back into her husband's pocket. So
wow,
that's something that's working through the courts right now. If guns do not work to protect anyone, as many activists claim, why do so many anti-gun politicians and celebrity hire armed guards? What's the reason behind their ideas on guns? It's a kind of a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
It's called cognitive dissonance. Those who are in positions of power, authority, and celebrity like to make statements they feel are relevant for the little people, but in their own lives they live by the realities of life. And the reality is the best way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
Yep. Oh, goodness.
Another point on that, they justify their beliefs in many ways.
Well, I think we lost you there.
Boils down to a basic belief that they believe that their life is more the sad. Did you lose me?
Yeah, we lost you there for a second.
All right, I'll redo that one. The celebrities and politicians justify it in many ways, but it boils down to a basic belief. They believe that their life is worth protecting with violence if necessary. The sad part is that they don't think you should be allowed to make the same valuation or choice. In 2020, then presidential candidate Michael Bloomberg, remember that Yahoo, was asked how he could continue to demand gun control while being protected by private guards equipped with the same firearms and magazines that he wanted to ban others from owning. A reporter asked him, "Does your life, Mr. Bloomberg, matter more than mine or my family's?" Bloomberg's response, in essence, was that he was not an ordinary person. He was a celebrity and a billionaire who received more threats than most people. The same time, another big city Democrat known for pushing gun control on the plebes, Lori Lightfoot, former mayor of Chicago, created a security detail called Security Detail Unit 544. Unit 544 was to protect her home and office and to oversee her personal bodyguard detail. The special unit consisted of approximately 71 officers, in addition to the mayor's existing separate personal bodyguard detail of 20 officers. So what is good for thee is not good for me.
Wow.
So that makes me a little mad.
Yeah. So what
do you think about it? That was my total on the gun control part of it. What do you think, Craig?
That's just it makes me angry too. Well, and especially like with Lori Lightfoot, you mentioned there was like 90 people there. So she had her own police force, not just armed security. That it's the hypocrisy is beyond, what you could
ever think of. Her life is more valuable than ours, Craig.
And sadly, I think they honestly believe that.
Oh, yeah. All right. A couple more here. Leftists claim to be the champions of free speech, but they approve of conservative speakers being attacked, censored, and shouted down. Example, Maxine Waters calling for harassment of Republicans in public places. Leftist tech companies, including officials, to suppress, shadow ban, and even ban conservative voices of any opinions differing from the approved narrative.
Yep.
And then another one to think about, everybody knows what cancel culture is. Cancel culture is starting to lose its steam. People are just flipping barrel middle finger at people that try to cancel them now, and that is the right way to battle these people. We don't care what you think.
Yep, absolutely.
When someone's here's another one. When number 7, when somebody despises America, we are required almost to ask, "What have we done to make them hate us?" But when someone despises liberals for what they're doing to this country, their key rebuttal: "You must be an ignorant, bigoted, racist son of a bitch."
Yep.
There's no. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to go against what they think.
Yep. Everyone's opinion matters as long as it's theirs.
That's right. In the final months of the 2020 presidential campaign, decried violent Trump supporters at political rallies. Today, these same outlets apologize for ignoring violence committed by the leftist thugs, Antifa, and BLM. So that's kind of a lot of that's getting exposed right now with the Tucker files.
Yep.
With January 6th, and the January 6th committee was staging for so long. But I think this is going to open a lot of people's eyes. I hope it does. Maybe I'm just being too hopeful, but
I hope it does too, and I would encourage all of our viewers, please go watch Tucker Carlson, look up the January 6th footage and stuff that he's been broadcasting, and make up, and do what he says. Just watch it and make up your own mind. It's sickening, honestly, what that January 6th committee has done to these people. Now, there was some stuff that happened that was bad. I think we can all agree with that, and the people who did bad things need to be punished, but a lot of these people that are being punished, they didn't really do anything wrong. So, and hopefully the cleansing power of sunshine will come in someday and make all of that right. So what else you got?
So here's something for you, Craig. So you know how on the January 6th thing, one of their favorite talking points is how it was an attack on our democracy, and they tried to overrun where our political leaders were, and blah, 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 blah. Well, was anybody hurt? No. Was there some things that were sure, but what they're blowing this situation up because they hate Trump. But do you remember in 2001, President Bill Clinton commuted the sentences of a pair of radical leftists serving time for bombing the U.S. Capitol building in 1983, where the blast shattered the second floor of the Senate wing. President Clinton pardoned terrorist Susan Rosenberg, who planted the bomb outside the Senate chamber. But nobody remembers that, right? Because it was a Democrat activist that actually blew up something.
Yep.
So don't talk to me, libtards. Don't talk to me about a couple of broken windows and Pelosi missing some office furniture. This is not the same thing.
No, it's not. Well, even just the year before, when the BLM activists stormed the Capitol for real, Trump had to go to the bunker, and the security forces were able to keep them off of the actual, the grounds. So they torched a church and stuff instead. I mean, what they say and reality is two totally different things.
It's an upside down world.
Yep.
All right. Number 9, halting mass immigration and incoming travel from Middle Eastern countries was barely noticed when Obama did in 2008. But Trump does the same thing and all hell breaks loose.
Yep. A lot of hypocrisy there.
Remember that? Obama did the exact same thing.
Yep.
But it was okay. It was okay then. Number 10, leftist fave, hashtag end Asian hate. Let me say it again, hashtag end Asian hate. Yet the same leftists are fine with Ivy League schools discriminating against Asians in the name of equity as far as entering their college.
Yep.
Number 11, lefties cry foul if you won't bake them a gay cake, but are okay with not serving a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
Yep.
Number 12, 2008 equals if you didn't respect the president, you were a racist. Fast forward to 2016, if you do respect the president, you were a racist. Number 13, left screams out loud, don't judge people by their race or gender. Why can't all you, and then, this is what they scream afterwards, why can't all you privileged white men understand that? Yep. Number 14, banning drugs doesn't keep people from getting them. We should just legalize them. What's that to remind you of? Maybe Second Amendment?
Yeah. Why don't they just go ahead and legalize everything?
That's right. And my last, this one is not necessarily with the heading of frauds, double standards, and hypocrites, but I wanted to throw something out there for our viewers. Did you see that Discover has started a reporting mechanism on gun-related purchases?
Yep. I think that actually just goes into place. That's starting very soon, I believe. Or did it already?
It's very vague to me on how are they going to know it's a gun purchase? Are they doing some sort of a code? They do those, UPC codes or something for all types of transactions. Are they doing something specifically for guns? Code-wise?
I don't know if it's going to be for actual items or if it was just a purchase made at like a gun store. That part I'm a little fuzzy on myself, because the only information that's really sent is usually just the total charge.
Okay.
But
I've got one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got one more little segment if you'd like to do it, Craig.
Yep, go ahead.
Ready for my last segment?
Yep.
All right, this is an installment of Would You Rather, since you enjoyed it so much last time.
Okay.
Are you ready? This is without pictures, unfortunately.
Okay.
All right. Would you rather, Craig, would you rather your wife hops into a foxhole during SHTF with Bill Clinton or Bill Cosby?
Oh, man. That's actually, I don't know. That's
Talk it out, man. Talk it out.
Well, actually, probably Bill Clinton, because at least he didn't drug people that we're aware of.
Knew that's what you're going to say.
Yep.
Knew that's what you're going. At least Jen would have a fighting chance with old Billy Clinton, right?
Yep.
Right. All right. If you were in a firefight against 50 baddies, would you rather have a crew of 100 mildly trained friendlies or 3 highly trained, battle-hardened special ops tough guys against 50 baddies? 100 people that are mildly trained that you know, or 3 highly trained? So it's basically about a 15-to-1, 16-to-1 differential with the special.
I'm going to go with the 3 highly trained. Training makes up for an awful lot. And I think I'd be much less likely to, get offed by one of the people trying to defend when you have untrained people.
Friendly fire.
Yep.
Right? Friendly fire.
Yep.
Yep. That's a good one. I feel the same way. All right. Let me see this next one here. Would you rather carry a micro, a medium, or a large frame for your everyday concealed carry? Why?
Would I rather? I would rather carry a full. I'd rather carry a full size, but I don't. I carry a mid size, just for concealability. Given full, preference, I would prefer to carry a full size just because they're easier to handle and they have higher capacities. But they're also harder to conceal, so generally people are going to know you got it.
World War III is becoming more and more of a reality. And one or the other, if one or the other was imminent, would you rather defend your homeland against a Russian invasion or a Chinese invasion?
Wow, that's a tough one too.
One of them's imminent. You can't choose none.
I would actually probably defend against a Russian invasion force.
I agree.
And there's some reasons.
I feel like Russia's.
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like Russians' technology still maybe pre-2000s.
Well, there's some technology differences there, but also, there's some just philosophical differences, I guess, as far as to value of human life differences between the Russian and the Chinese forces. So yeah, I would say the Russians.
I'm with you on that one. Would you? Oh, this is a good one. I can't wait to hear your response on this one. Would you rather publicly endorse Joan Rivers' declaration of Michelle Obama being a man, or be known as the leading expert in flat Earth studies?
Well, I'm going to go with Joan Rivers because I think that one is. There is actually maybe some probability that was correct, whereas I know the Earth isn't flat.
Oh, that's good. All right, last one. If you could go back into time, would you rather go back in time to thwart the assassination of JFK, or go back further and thwart the assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand?
Oh, man. The problem with that, we could do a whole 2-hour episode just on the dynamics of, the effects of impacting time. But
yep.
Aside from all that, I would say I would go back to stop the Ferdinand assassination, because World War I, what that set in motion, there were so many things, including what happened with Kennedy. So in some ways, that wouldn't have ever occurred, just because.
Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah.
Yep. Good point. That's all I got, Craig.
Okay. These are interesting, but boys, they make you think. That's for sure. Okay, I just have a couple other quick things to. Well, one of them's maybe not quick, but a couple quick ones to show here. I'm going to pull up a picture real quick. So there again, Evan won't be able to see it, but so I'll go ahead and pull that up. This is for us Ohio people. This is Ohio Senate Bill 58. Recently, gun control advocates have pushed for sportsmen and gun owners to carry firearms insurance. They figure that requiring insurance will promote responsible firearm ownership, but really it's mostly they're using that as they spin it. Pull this back up here. They spin it as being able to have insurance, and the proceeds from that would offset the cost of violent crime caused by criminals. But this is just a tactic. It's nothing more than an attempt to punish law-abiding gun owners for lawfully owning products and making us pay for criminals' acts. And Ohio, we have some pro-gun legislators that are legislators that are pushing back. Senators Terry Johnson and Teresa Gavarone, along with co-sponsors Senators Schaefer, Cyrano, Brenner, O'Brien, Romanchuk, and Hoagland, have submitted Senate Bill 58. Recently, on Wednesday, March 1st, they had a hearing at the Senate Veterans and Public Safety Committee to hear it. So currently, the Senate bill it's in committee, and then after committee, it would be determined if it's going to go to the floor for vote in the Senate. But this legislation prohibits a person from being required to purchase firearms insurance or to pay a fee to possess a firearm, part of a firearm components, ammunition, or knives. So I would urge you to contact your senators and representatives and urge them to support Senate Bill 58. Criminals will not be purchasing firearm insurance, and law-abiding sportsmen and gun owners should not be made to pay for it either. So there was that one.
It's an end-around way to get us, isn't it?
It is. And you can make these, some of these insurances, especially once they're required, they can get pretty expensive. And then what? If you can't afford it, then you're not allowed to own your firearms. So.
They're getting cracked, Craig.
Yeah. And this one, I was glad to see that there, several states are pushing back on things, and they're not taking it anymore. And this is actually, it kind of plays into this next segment. And this is one, basically, I'm sure all of you have heard, but the AFT final pistol brace rule was listed in the Federal Register on January 31st. This new rule essentially makes it illegal to attach and use a pistol stabilizing brace. Use of such a device in the eyes of the AFT remakes the pistol into a short-barreled rifle subject to all the regulations and provisions of the NFA, the same regulations that apply to silencers and machine guns, which among other things requires an application complete with fingerprints, background checks, a payment of a $200 tax prior to ownership, and then you have to be approved. So you first have to ask for permission, you have to pay for permission, and then hopefully you can get permission. The new rule was effective immediately, meaning that effective February 1st, anyone owning and using such a device is essentially a felon in the eyes of the AFT. There's millions of these in circulation, meaning that there's now millions of new felons out there. In their infinite generosity, they've provided us a 120-day grace period to file an application. Normally, you have to have these approvals prior to owning such a thing. In this case, they put the law in place making the ownership illegal after you already had it. But anyway, they're waiving the $200 tax, so that sounds great. And it's supposed to account for the fact that these items are already in the hands of all these people. But of course, there's several issues that arise from this. Historically, the approval process can take up to a year for some of these things. 120 days, the last time I checked, it's less than a year. So there's a first problem there. So if you don't have your papers within the 120-day grace period, again, you're a felon. But don't worry, the AFT has assured us that they'll use their discretion on prosecuting people that have these, so long as you have proof you have filed.
Warm and fuzzies there, Craig.
Oh yeah. As long as you have proof that you filed, you should be okay. But what if you're denied? You've told the AFT that you possess what they have stated is an NFA item, and so you would be immediately subject to prosecution. So let's just assume you're approved, though. Once you're approved, the freedoms normally associated with firearms ownership are still hampered. There's additional paperwork and approvals required before you can cross state lines. You're not allowed to allow anyone not specifically authorized by the paperwork to use the firearm. So even if you're, currently they've expanded this kind of provision. So it used to be in the good old days of, 4 months ago, that if you and a buddy were out shooting and your buddy had a machine gun and you wanted to shoot it, as long as he was right there with you, you could shoot it. It's no problem at all. The ATF has kind of changed their stance on that, and so you're not allowed to do that anymore, technically. That's still kind of up in the air, but that's kind of the last where that stands. So anyway, there's some other issues too. Some states do not allow SBRs, which that's what the ATF basically says this turns it into. A pistol with a stabilizing brace is a short-barreled rifle now, in their view. So if you get all your paperwork and stuff, now federally you're okay, but if you live in a state that doesn't allow short-barreled rifles, well, now you're in trouble in the state. So there's that problem. So anyway, as you would expect, lawsuits started flying very fast. There's a couple of noteworthy ones. The first is from the Firearms Regulatory Accountability Coalition, or FRAC, who, along with SB Tactical, B&T USA, Richard Cicero, a retired police firearms instructor and a wounded warrior who uses stabilizing braces, they filed suit on February 9th against the AFT, Merrick Garland as the AG of the United States, and Stephen Dettelbach as the director of the ATF, and they're asking for a declaratory and injunctive relief. Now, this suit, like several others, cites a wide-ranging list of points, among other things, that the ATF themselves did not consider these braces as SBRs for over 10 years, that the ruling is arbitrary and capricious, and that the ATF themselves did not follow correct procedures in rulemaking. What makes this lawsuit really stand out, though, is that the attorney generals of 25 states have also signed on to the suit against the ATF, meaning that half of the states in this country are in agreement that this rule violates our constitutional rights. And the states, there's Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Sadly, Ohio was not one of those, but I can start. Remember, we had the episode a while back, we were talking about, gun-free or gun-safe states, things like that. Ohio was pretty far down the list. Starting to see why. So, anyway, it gets even better. On February 27th, an amicus brief supporting the suit against the ATF was filed by 13 U.S. senators and 21 representatives, U.S. House representatives. So we've got Senators Marsha Blackburn, Kevin Cramer, Ted Budd, Ted Cruz, Steve Daines, Chuck Grassley, Bill Hagerty, John Haven, James Lankford, Mike Rounds, Rick Scott, John Thune, and Tom Tillis were the senators. In the House of Representatives, you have Jody Arrington, Don Bacon, Stephanie Bice, Michael Boast, Ben Klein, Andrew Clyde, Scott Desarles, Jake Elzey, Ron Estes, Chuck Fleischman, Glenn Grothman, Andy Harris, Jim Jordan, go Jim, Mary Miller, Nathaniel Morin, Greg Murphy, Ralph Norman, Mike Rogers, Jason Smith, Gregory Stube, Claudia Tenney. So we've got the legislative body of the United States, several members of that body, the ones who make the laws, 25 states have also signed on. So this is a big deal, this lawsuit. So there's another lawsuit. It was filed on February 9th. This one in the state of Texas. If you notice when I read through those states, Texas wasn't listed there. Well, that's because they've got their own. Texas, along with the Gun Owners of America, Gun Owners Foundation, and Brady Brown, have sued the ATF, the Department of Justice, and Stephen Dettelbach, and on February 9th as well, for the same type of thing, listing a lot of the same points. And just this past Monday, March 6th, they filed a formal request for a motion of preliminary injunction. So now we have several gun rights organizations, 26 states, 13 senators, 21 representatives, all pushing back on the ATF for this rule change and asking for a preliminary injunction. But it gets even better. Just this week, on Monday, March 6th, Jim Jordan is chairman of the Committee on the Judiciary, and Thomas Massey, the chairman of the Subcommittee on the Administrative State Regulatory Reform and Antitrust Committee, sent an official request for the ATF Director Stephen Dettelbach, asking him to testify along with several other key ATF staff to explain their actions, citing the ATF's lack of transparency, as well as for them to defend why they feel they have the legal authority to regulate these devices without having a clear legislative mandate from Congress. So this is getting interesting. The ATF has clearly outstepped their rule authority, and they're trying to legislate. So this has to end up going to the Supreme Court.
We've let them get away with it for so long.
Yeah.
We've let them get away with it so long that nobody's ever stood up to them, so they think they can get away with it.
Yep.
We've got 3 minutes before this thing kicks off, just so you know.
Okay. Well, we're pretty much done. I just wanted to get that out there to let people know that there's a lot of stuff in motion, and the ATF has been taking a lot of hits lately, and I think this will be another one. Now, with all that being said, this isn't over yet, so still be careful with what you do. But just feel good to know that we are not alone. More than half the country and even the U.S. government is pushing back on the ATF. So that makes me just feel better.
Back, we'll definitely follow this, won't we, Craig? We'll give regular updates on this as it goes on.
Yep. As new stuff transpires, we will definitely keep everyone apprised. So I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up there. So again, this is Craig and Eben from Craig's Gun Channel on Random Shots. There again, apologize. We had a little bit of technology issues. The string between the two cans between Ohio and New Jersey must have gotten wet and wasn't quite as tight, so we lost Eben a little bit there. But overall, I think things probably went pretty good. As always, if you like the content, please hit the like button, share. If you like the program, share with your friends. If you hate us and think we're goobers, share with all your friends so you can make fun of us. I mean, we don't care. Send any comments you have. We'd appreciate it.
I'll be home soon, honey.
Okay. Okay, I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. As always, until next time,
Craig.
Stay safe. See you, Evan.
See you.